Have you ever wondered how our daily actions contribute to the shifting patterns of our planet's climate? We'll delve into that question today, as we explore the science behind climate change and its correlation with human activities. Our planet is a complex system, one that's been in balance for millions of years. However, the advent of the Industrial Revolution and our increasing reliance on fossil fuels have tipped the scales. When we burn fossil fuels like coal, oil, and gas for energy, we release carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. This carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas, which means it traps heat from the sun within our atmosphere, rather than letting it escape back into space. But it's not just carbon dioxide that's the culprit. Other human activities like deforestation also contribute to the problem. When we cut down trees to make way for agriculture or urban development, we lose one of our best allies in the fight against climate change. Trees absorb carbon dioxide, helping to regulate the amount of this greenhouse gas in our atmosphere. Without them, more carbon dioxide remains in the atmosphere, adding to the warming effect. This process, known as global warming, is the driving force behind climate change. It's causing our planet's average temperatures to rise, disrupting weather patterns, and leading to more frequent and severe weather events. But here's the kicker. It's not just about warmer temperatures. A warmer planet also means melting ice caps, rising sea levels, and shifting habitats for wildlife. It means more droughts, floods, and heat waves. It means that the very fabric of life on Earth is changing, and not for the better. We may not see the full impact of our actions in our day-to-day lives. We may not feel the heat of a wildfire or the flood of rising tides, but these changes are happening, and they're happening at an alarming rate. Our actions, seemingly insignificant, collectively influence the climate of our planet. And it's high time we took a hard look at how we're shaping the future of our world. What happens when we turn a blind eye to the pressing issue of climate change? Imagine a world where the sea levels are rising, submerging coastal cities and displacing millions of people. This is not a dystopian novel plot, it's a real-life consequence of climate change. As the Earth's temperature increases, polar ice melts, leading to an alarming rise in sea levels. This not only threatens coastal habitats but also puts global economies at risk, with the potential to disrupt trade and tourism. But the effects of climate change don't stop there. It's not just about the heat, it's about the havoc it wreaks. As the planet warms, we're seeing more extreme weather events. Storms are becoming more powerful, floods more frequent, and droughts more severe. These events can devastate communities, destroy livelihoods, and cost billions in damages. And then, there's the impact on biodiversity. Climate change is driving species to extinction at an unprecedented rate. Warmer temperatures and changing weather patterns disrupt delicate ecosystems, making it difficult for many species to survive. This loss of biodiversity is not just about losing beautiful creatures, it's about disrupting the balance of nature that we humans rely on for things like food and medicine. The human cost of climate change is also significant. Increased temperatures can exacerbate health problems like heart and lung diseases. Displacement due to rising sea levels and extreme weather events can lead to humanitarian crises. And the most vulnerable among us, the poor, the young, the elderly, are often the hardest hit. Climate change also has a psychological impact. The fear and anxiety of living in a world that's changing in unpredictable ways can affect mental health. It can lead to feelings of helplessness and despair, especially among young people who are inheriting a world in crisis. So, when we talk about the consequences of climate change, we're not just talking about warmer summers or more intense storms. We're talking about a fundamental shift in the way we live and the world as we know it. The consequences of climate change are not distant threats, they are here and now. How often do you come across myths about climate change that downplay its severity? It's time to clear the air on some of these misconceptions. One common myth is that climate change is just a natural cycle. While it's true that Earth's climate has fluctuated throughout its history, the current rate of warming is unprecedented in the past 10,000 years. Today's climate change isn't part of a natural cycle, but rather a direct consequence of human activities, primarily the burning of fossil fuels. Another myth is the belief that climate change won't affect us personally. It's easy to think that rising temperatures mean more beach days, but the reality is far more complex. Climate change impacts us all, from more frequent and severe weather events like hurricanes and wildfires to threats to our food and water supply. It's not just about polar bears losing their icy homes, it's about the livelihood and safety of millions of people worldwide. Some skeptics argue that there's disagreement among scientists about climate change, but let's set the record straight. The consensus among scientists that humans are causing climate change is over 97%. That's about as close to unanimous as it gets in science. Then there's the myth that we can't do anything about climate change. This is perhaps the most dangerous misconception of all. Yes, the challenge is immense, but so too is our capacity for innovation and change. From renewable energy to sustainable agriculture, solutions are within our grasp. We've put a man on the moon after all. So, the next time you encounter these myths, arm yourself with the facts. Climate change isn't a far-off problem or a natural cycle, and it's not too late to act. We all have a role to play in this global effort. The science is clear, climate change is real, and it's happening right now. How can we, as individuals and societies, combat the climate crisis? This question is at the heart of our journey towards a sustainable future. The first step is transitioning to renewable energy sources. Solar, wind, and hydroelectric power can replace our reliance on fossil fuels, slashing greenhouse gas emissions. These energy sources are not only sustainable but also infinitely renewable, offering a long-term solution to our energy needs. Another key solution lies in the realm of agriculture. Sustainable farming practices such as organic farming, agroforestry, and permaculture can significantly reduce the environmental impact of our food production systems. These methods not only help to maintain soil health and biodiversity, but also sequester carbon from the atmosphere, acting as a natural form of carbon capture. Speaking of carbon capture, technological innovations in this field are game changers. From direct air capture machines to carbon mineralization processes, these technologies can remove carbon dioxide directly from the atmosphere and store it safely, effectively reversing part of the damage we've done. Reducing waste is another crucial piece of the puzzle. By embracing the principles of reduce, reuse, and recycle, we can significantly cut down on the amount of waste we produce and its associated greenhouse gas emissions. This is where individual actions truly come into play. Each one of us can make a difference by making conscious choices in our daily lives. Policy change is also essential in mitigating climate change. Governments around the world need to enforce stricter regulations on pollution, invest in green infrastructure, and incentivize sustainable practices in industries. Lastly, technological innovation is key. From electric vehicles to energy-efficient appliances, new technologies can help us reduce our carbon footprint and move towards a more sustainable future. Climate change is a complex issue that requires a multifaceted approach. It requires us to rethink and restructure our societies and economies. But the solutions are within our grasp. From renewable energy to waste reduction, from sustainable agriculture to carbon capture technologies, we have the tools we need to combat the climate crisis. The solutions are there, we just need the will to implement them. Why is it crucial for us to act now and not later? This is a question we all need to ask ourselves as we stand at the precipice of a climate crisis. The clock is ticking, and every second we delay, the future of our planet hangs in the balance. Climate change is not just a global issue, but a personal one. It's about the air we breathe, the food we eat, the water we drink, and the world we leave for our children. We all have a stake in this, and we all bear a collective responsibility to address it. This isn't a challenge that can be tackled by a few individuals, organizations, or nations alone. It's a crisis that requires a global response, a collective surge of action, and a shared commitment to sustainability. Sustainable living isn't just a buzzword but a necessity in the face of climate change. It's about making conscious choices in our daily lives. From the products we buy to the energy we use, it means reducing our carbon footprint, recycling, and adopting renewable energy sources. It's about making decisions today that will safeguard our tomorrow. Education plays a pivotal role in climate action. It's through education that we can raise awareness about the realities of climate change, bust myths, and inspire action. Understanding the science of climate change, its impacts, and the solutions we can employ is the first step to action. It's about empowering ourselves with knowledge, so we can make informed choices and inspire others to do the same. We can all take part in climate action in big ways and small. Whether it's planting a tree, reducing waste, or advocating for policy changes, every action counts. After all, it's the cumulative effect of these actions that can bring about significant change. The future of our planet lies in our hands. Together, we can make a difference. So let's roll up our sleeves, take action, and be the change we wish to see in the world, because the time to act is not tomorrow, next week, or next year. The time to act is now. Having understood the urgency and importance of climate action, you may be wondering, where do I start? Well, the answer is simple. Start right where you are. Remember, every action, no matter how small it seems, can have a significant impact in the fight against climate change. Start by evaluating your daily routines and habits. For instance, could you switch to public transportation or use a bike instead of your car? Could you reduce your plastic consumption by bringing your own shopping bag to the store? Or could you save energy by switching off lights and unplugging devices when they're not in use? These may seem like small steps, but they're crucial in reducing our individual carbon footprints. Next, educate yourself and others about the realities of climate change. A well-informed individual is a powerful agent of change. Share your knowledge with friends, family, and your community. Use social media platforms to spread awareness about climate change and its impacts. Moreover, support businesses that prioritize sustainability. Choose products that are made sustainably and ethically. And remember, every dollar you spend is a vote for the kind of world you want to live in. Lastly, advocate for climate-friendly policies. Reach out to your local representatives, sign petitions, join protests, and make your voice heard. Demand that your government take action on climate change. Remember, change doesn't happen overnight, it's a process, and every step you take brings us closer to a healthier, more sustainable planet. So, let's take that first step together, because every journey begins with a single step. And remember, if you found this video informative and inspiring, please like, share, and subscribe for more content on climate change and solutions. Let's continue this journey towards a sustainable future together.